Hey YouTube, Bob here. In this edition of Nintendo Unboxed, we're going to be taking a look at Earthbound, released for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System in North America in 1995. And in its, I'm going to say, 3-year run on retail shelves, because I have a vivid memory of being at a Best Buy store in probably about 1998. I think it was my senior year in high school. I was about 18 years old. And they had literal stacks of these games on the floor for $25 each. And if 43-year-old Bob could go back in time and tell 18-year-old Bob, buy up all the Earthbounds, I totally would have. But I'm very lucky to have this copy here of Earthbound. This, unfortunately, due to the state of video game collecting right now where prices are super inflated, this happens to be one of the more expensive ones. Number one, because it's a fantastic RPG. And I think number two, mainly just because it's kind of an oddity as far as its retail release was concerned. It was released in this very big box here to accommodate the free player's guide, which doubled as the instruction manual, because once we crack this thing open here, we're going to see that the first portion of this player's guide is the instruction manual for the game. So there was no real standard size box released for Earthbound in the United States. You got this really big box that had just the game, some informational pamphlets, and the player's guide in it. But it does sport the typical North American Nintendo aesthetic here, where we have the 16 bits along the side, and we've got the 4-button controller layout that was kind of meant to mimic the red, yellow, blue, and green colors of the logo of the Super Famicom. But this is what we got here in the United States. And of course, the little peel away, only for Nintendo. So we've got the Earthbound and Super Nintendo branding on the long sides, as well as on the short sides, so nothing too interesting there. But let's take a look at the back that says, Gigas Invasion. Bizarre aliens roam the Earth. Intergalactic terror strikes the small town of Onet as a blazing extraterrestrial object crashes in the night. The Earth now faces imminent destruction by the universal evil threat known as Gigas. Armed with a cracked baseball bat, a cookie, and an ATM card, a courageous boy named Ness vows to save the planet from hideous destruction. He must first find his heroic companions, Paula, Jeff, and Pooh. Remember, we loved that growing up. Along the way to 8 mysterious places called Your Sanctuary in order to gain power and put an end to the interstellar threat. The citizens of Onet lend their support by providing high-tech gadgets, robotic time machines, and wacky stories about how strange life has become. Lurking aliens and inexplicable phenomenon are being reported throughout the countryside. Our 4 Wonder Kids band together with innovation, psychic powers, and resourceful weapons. Will Ness succeed in his attempts to ambush countless frightening monsters as he travels? The ultimate test lies in the impending encounter with the all-powerful Gigas. So if we take a look here, we've got some screenshots here. Very big full-color screenshots with graphics that are kind of reminiscent of Yoshi's Island, but have an aesthetic all their own. Very unique graphics in this game. And on the bottom here, the bulleted list says, a fantastic modern world setting with sci-fi twists where psychic powers rule. Battle hundreds of off-the-wall monsters, roaming dinosaurs, and alien enemies. Journey to exotic locations like Stonehenge, Deep Darkness, and Saturn Valley. Battery-backed memory, and yeah, I just tested it before I packaged it back up. The battery is still holding my saves. Saves the extraordinary progress of our young heroes. Find your friends along the way. They are vital to the survival of the universe. Incredible 128-page Earthbound Player's Guide provides exclusive tips and important alien secrets, but it doesn't explain the wacky jokes. And at the beginning I mentioned, that this game is great, the packaging is unique, but it does have a sense of humor all its own. So I think that's one of the other appeals here. I think the localization team back in 1995 did a great job translating or adding to the original Japanese of this game, because the humor and the quirkiness really shined through. So let's take a look and see what we have in Earthbound. I'll pull the tab out, and there's a cardboard retainer tray here that houses the game and the player's guide. Give you a little bit of a better view in there of how that was packaged. But we will lay it flat and pull the retainer tray out. And there we go. Put the box off to the side here. Game comes out. This was towards the end of the Super Nintendo's lifespan, released in 1995. The N64 would come out in 1996 in North America. So by this time, Nintendo was no longer supplying the plastic dust covers that it had originally given with all of its games. But of course, I have a dust cover for all the games in my collection. But if you put the dust cover on, it doesn't really fit in the retainer tray too well, especially in the plastic baggie. So can't put it back in the dust cover if you're going to put it in the retainer tray. But this is the cartridge that of course has the same artwork as the cardboard box that we saw. Then if we kind of open up the retainer tray here, we've got our typical fare included with many NES and Super NES games. You've got your full color poster, which is an ad for the Nintendo Super Power Club, which was the Nintendo Power magazine, on one side, and then pretty much an ad for the popular games at the time. Nintendo sporting its players loud mantra, play it loud mantra here. Gotta play your games loud, whatever that means. But if you take a look at this, oh my gosh, Donkey Kong Country. What else do we have on here? Illusion of Gaia, Super Punch-Out, Super Metroid, and Super Mario World. I love how they just cannot give it up on the Super Mario World. That was the launch game, and it's still making this end-of-life poster. Surprised not to see Yoshi's Island on here, because that was pretty much one of the main titles in this era of the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. But then on the back, we've got the full-side ad for Nintendo Power featuring Star Fox. Join the club, Nintendo Power. Also included has to be, if you're going to get Nintendo Power, the subscription card. And back then, kids, even though the internet was just kicking off, I don't believe you're going to be able to subscribe online yet. What does it say? Fill this out, yep, mail it, make your friends' heads spin. So, and this one is themed, of course, for Earthbound. Eyes watering, nose burning, throat tightening. Try playing against someone who reads Nintendo Power. Subscribe to Nintendo Power magazine, and not only will you get 12 months of tips as cool as the ones in this player's guide, but you'll also get bragging rights for a year. The form is simple, the number is even easier. Got an 800 number, which I believe is still in service to this day for Nintendo. So you could mail this in, or you could call to get your Nintendo Power subscription. And of course, the obligatory consumer precautions booklet. Had to require that. So we'll put this down. Nothing really else here except for the player's guide. Put the retainer tray to the side. The complete guide to Earthbound, straight from the pros at Nintendo. And it's interesting how much they downplay that this is also the instruction manual for the game. Great pizza, new friends, world travel, free daily newspaper, and an alien megalomaniac await you. Welcome to Onet, the first destination on your itinerary and site of an authentic meteorite crash. You'll find the people of Onet are most obliging and keen to show you a good time. Unless, of course, you run into someone or something that has been taken over by an evil interstellar dweller who hitched a ride into town on the aforementioned meteorite. This alien, however, will undoubtedly add to your journey by giving you the personal reward of saving the planet Earth while enjoying the ultimate vacation. With the Earthbound Player's Guide in hand, you'll have all the information you need to ensure an exhilarating, exciting, and memorable visit to many fascinating places. Savor the sophisticated amenities of the city of Fourside, including the fabulous Dinosaur Museum and the Grand Department Store. Capture the spirit of adventure in Dusty Dunes Desert, where you'll meet a real old-time gold miner. Drop into the town of Winters and Lake Tess for a chance to see the famed sea serpent Tessie. Follow the footsteps of history through Stonehenge and the Great Pyramids. Meet some real strangers in Saturn Valley. Then hit the beach in the beautiful resort town of Summers. Throughout your journey, keep the player's guide handy at all times so you'll know what to see, the best places to eat, whom to meet, what to look for, and what to watch out for, like zombies, kid dicing kitchen implements, dinosaurs, bugs, and other undesirables. This comprehensive reference with everything from maps to items to monsters will ensure an incredibly exciting and stimulating trip, plus the worthy and humanitarian experience of saving the Earth from the outrageous space invader Gigas. Fun, adventure, and philanthropy. Now who could ask for anything more? Quite the blurb on the back of this player's guide. They usually don't say that much, but pretty cool and all true in regards to Earthbound. So as we open this up here, thank you for selecting Earthbound for your Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Please read the following instructions thoroughly to ensure the proper handling and use of your new game. Please save this manual and strategy guide for future reference. So there's the first place that it acknowledges that this is both the instruction manual and the player's guide. So, warning you here not to turn the power switch on and off repeatedly, which who would sit there and do this to the power switch? Because you'll lose your battery save, most likely. And you got your official Nintendo seal of quality, alongside some screenshots of the game there. So, a little bit more about Earthbound. Can 4 average kids save the world from certain destruction at the hands of an evil alien invader? They might be inexperienced, but don't count them out. Wow, they're sure coming up with lots of text, and it's varied. It's not repeated here as far as the back of the box goes, the back of this guide, and now the inside cover. The 4 spunky kids have the fate of mankind in their hands and the weight of the world on their shoulders, so it's a good thing that they have psychic powers, and you, on their side. As you begin this unique gaming experience and explore the world in search of the sinister spirit Gigas, pack along our travel guide. You'll need it to find your way through Earthbound's twisted and hilarious world, and you won't want to miss a single side trip or pass up any sights along the way. Just remember to phone dear old mom and dad. After all, the kids will wander a long way from home. So we'll open it up to second page here, and you can see right away that the first 12 pages are dedicated to being the instruction manual, and then the table of contents for the player's guide continue on. We've got strategy for each of the areas of the game, which are kind of listed along the right hand side of this page 3 right here. Onett, Tucson, Threed, Winters, Dusty Dunes Desert, Forside, Summers, Dalam, Scaraba, Deep Darkness, Lost Underworld, and Saturn Valley. All of those are here, and you can see as you go down the strategy list here, it kind of alternates between times and guide, because, you know, newspapers important in Earthbound. So times guide for Onett, Tucson, Threed, and then it continues down here until that section of strategy ends at about page 120 here with the Onett times. Then there's a list of charts of your weapons, protection, goods, food, condiments, medicine, and PSI. So if we move into the manual part of the guide here, telling you what each of the buttons is mapped to as far as the functions are considered. Starting the game, kind of all that technical stuff of creating your file. We've got a little bit of a biography here, the characters, Ness, Paula, Jeff, and Pooh. Decisions here. When you start a new game, you have the chance to name the 4 friends that make up the group. It's always more fun to play a game with characters named after you and your friends. Give it a try. So like The Legend of Zelda, you could add your own names. Kind of dealing with the in-game menus here, the GUI for Earthbound, the battle system and command window, and then before you're on your way, just some useful things about basic mechanics in the game, like the phone, ATM, if you get sick, magic butterfly, hint stand, etc. And then the Earthbound travel guide. This is a little bit more of a prologue here. The Midnight Mystery. Came up with a lot of text for the guide in the back of the box. Okay, here's the Times, the newspaper, and then you get into Onet. So travel steps on the right-hand side. You got a full map of the area with a key, you know, what each part is, labeled by letter. A little bit of a bestiary, what you're going to encounter while you're in the area. Bestiary keeps going. You get more in-depth look at the specific areas. And that format is going to continue on through the rest of the areas. Here we've got Tucson and Threed and Winters and Dusty Dunes Desert and Foreside Post and Summers, Dalam and Scaraba, Deep Darkness, continue on here into Lost Underworld, and after Lost Underworld we've got Saturn Valley. Then Earthbound at a glance. I think this is where they have the charts. Yeah, weapons, armor or protection, goods, condiments, medicine, and food. Yeah, just a list of all the things. And then, of course, the scratch and sniff collector's cards, which these are really old. I'm not going to scratch them just because I don't want to damage them, but I'll give them a little sniff here. Not smelling too much anymore. I think the scratch and sniff has vanished to time. But get a whiff of this hot dog. Hold the mustard, then your nose. This fungus is no fun at all. Dig this bucktooth funky smelling varmint. Slip the monkey a banana and watch the bad guys split. Burn up the competition in a flash. And take a big whiff, get a prize, or not, because you'll just want to plug your nose. Then on the back of the card, you've got some stats here. So to finish it out, just a warning and warranty service information, kind of continuing on those typical tropes of the manual. So there you have Nintendo's delightfully quirky 1995 RPG, Earthbound. I hope you enjoyed this unboxing video and will stay tuned for many more like it here at World of Nintendo. And until that next one, take care and you'll see me then.